We are not just afraid of death, we are even afraid to talk about it. And when you come across it, it's like you have rushed through your life somewhere very fast and slipped over. Slipped over, hit your head very hard. You are confused. You try to get up, but you cannot do it. And everything is spinning around. Because such events completely pulls the ground from under our feet. I can talk about it because, unfortunately, I faced death early enough. Although age probably does not matter, it has no value. All my grandmothers died, my grandfathers, my brother, my beloved one. And I have experience of living with the loss before awakening and after awakening. This is a completely different state. And actually, when you're awakening, you go through this stage, as we call it, death of the ego, death of the personality. And at this moment, it seems to you that you are really dying. You leave everything you're attached to. I had this experience. It is very frightening. Therefore, I believe that this subject must be talked about openly. We need to share our experiences. When I first encountered death face to face,
это состояние близко.
I was close to despair, because you understand that there is nothing you can do. In general, in life, you almost cannot do anything when you face it so strongly, quickly, suddenly. Nobody asks you about it. No one prepares you for this. This is the biggest hit to our psyche, to our ego, to our personality. Whatever kind of person you are, successful and kind in society, when it happens, you feel this force, this suppress you many times. You feel so small, helpless, defenseless. This power that gives us life and takes it away. If we are talking about death from natural cause, or even if it's accidental, and this helplessness just kills you. This is a lot of stress which we are not used to deal with. We do not know how to do that. Usually we become closed. We distance ourselves somehow. We pretend that it is not happening at all. In the beginning I did not even cry. I didn't realize what had happened. Some people try escape to work, some into entertainment, relationship, whatever. We are ready to do anything to avoid living through this pain. And the pain is so severe that you can lose your mind. And I came up to that moment, to that point where I needed help. And I realized that I could not cope alone, because the joy in life was absolutely gone. And the meaning of life was gone totally too, because when you are nothing here and you can't control such important things in life, then what purpose is there to live? My common sense did not allow me to do anything fully. I started looking for answers. An ordinary person faced with the loss of someone close experiences a series of stages. The first is denial. I will not go into detail. You will experience the whole range of emotions if you have faced this in order to get free, to come to something else, to something new in your life. And this is the strongest anger, and this is the strongest insult. There are very strong emotions which we have to experience in order to feel alive at all. When we go into our shelf after such traumatic situations, we don't really leave. We just stop laughing, smiling, enjoying. I, in my 20s, was just a walking shadow. And naturally, I was not satisfied, because I did not want to die. I understood that my life needed rebuilding. And in such moments, it is very important to find a point of reliance, foothold. It should be much stronger than ourselves. For me, it was exactly a connection with life, communication with this force, because I felt as a part of that energy. Religious people say it is God or Atman or the source of life, the universe. I began to feel the connection with life, with everything in general. What was happening around. It is very important to cope with any pain, to take responsibility. For me, this is probably the key moment, to take responsibility for my life, for my feelings, completely. We really do not want to do it. And I took it. I realized that if I do not pull myself out from this state, then nobody will be able to do it, and I can do anything for people close to me, in particular for my parents who buried a child. I cannot do anything except to be happy myself. And this is a huge piece of work. This is a good step towards conscious, mature, adult life. Through awareness, you can gradually come to realize that everything in this life is logical and not by chance. We begin to feel our nature through spiritual practice, some people through psychology, religion, whichever you prefer. We seek salvation because as a person we are very limited. It hurts the ego, but it is true. We start looking for something more than ourselves. I began to feel the connection with life itself, myself, the energy that goes through me, which makes everything alive here. And those were, in fact, the first steps to happiness. To happiness that has nothing to do with other people, or with some achievements, towards true happiness, just live and just be. Certainly after such traumatic situations, a reassessment of everything occurs. I did not know how to live, I did not understand how to communicate, even with peers. And generally with people who have never experienced this, who don't understand you, they don't feel it, they have completely different values. Their values are material wealth. How to build a comfortable zone around yourself, or some kind of personal significance. But when you open your heart, you have to face the pain, which rises to the utmost, that is just unbearable in the mind, because you want to get it over. Those who have had such conditions of despair, they will understand. You are looking for something to connect to. And what is this all for? I did it for my family. The more you feel your nature, this connection with the whole world, the wider your world view becomes. And this event that became the only one meaningful in the world, it becomes part of what is happening because there are so many things in the world. When we focus on ourselves, on our grief and suffering, we stop living because we do not see life around us. We do not see people, what actually happens. When you feel yourself as a part of this presence, it makes you feel so much better.
через осознанность
Through awareness, you are getting to the point that for some
по
reason
какой-то причине так должно
it
быть.
was supposed to
По какой-то
happen.
причине
For some reason, you need this experience. And your loved one needed that kind of experience. Acceptance comes.
приходит принятие. Сначала
First, humility, because you cannot change anything.
потом принятие.
Then, acceptance. This is the acceptance to which most people never come.
Приходит. Обычно
Usually, we are hiding in this pain.
запираем ее куда-то,
Push
закрываем
it somewhere,
сердце
close our heart and live in the past.
и живем в прошлом. Корим себя,
Blame yourself, feeling guilty, want to change something, but life is passing.
настоящего нет.
No presence.
Но жизнь продолжается
Whether we like it or not,
или нет. И это
I realized it a long time ago, and whether I like it or not, life will continue anyway.
продолжаться.
Different events will continue to happen to me, so it makes sense to look at it somehow differently, to look for some answers, perhaps outside from some sources, or within yourself, immerse within yourself, because in fact we have all the knowledge, we just forgot about it.
об этом. Посмотри,
Look a little wider,
и вот
and the awakening just helps to cope with it
помогает справиться с этим
and get rid of suffering.
страданием. Моя цель была
My goal was not just to wake up, I wanted to get rid of suffering forever, get rid of this pain.
боли. А боль это
And pain is an illusion of our mind, our
нашей
psyche.
психики, когда мы
When
считаем себя личностью.
we consider ourselves as a person, when we go beyond limits, everything changes a lot.
Меняется. Появляется доверие,
Trust appears, and the strength appears to cope with it.
что самое важное,
What is most important, the purpose appears for what it is all happening.
чего это все делается. Когда ты видишь
When you see the picture a little wider,
не с позиции себя,
not from the perspective of yourself when you're feeling bad,
а с позиции
but from the position that much bigger
выше нашей личности.
than our personality, you are starting to feel like a soul,
Чувствовать себя душой. Душой, которая пришла в
the soul that came into this body to get a certain experience.
берешь ответственность,
And when you take responsibility, you realize that
что
there is no one to blame or no one here is being punished.
никого здесь не наказывают, просто
We just choose our own lessons.
мы сами выбираем себе эти уроки.
We forget about it, but we must learn them.
Забываем об этом. Но их нужно пройти. В наших интересах
It
пройти
is in our interest to learn them in a good way,
осознанно.
that is, consciously.
Поэтому это
Therefore, it is a great chance to gain experience, invaluable experience.
есть весь смысл.
In principle, this is the whole point of our existence.
Получить
This is our development. To gain this experience in our body,
свою личность и эго
build up your potential, build your personality and ego to such a strength that it later appears an unbearable desire to get out of this,
абсолютно естественно.
go to that freedom that is absolutely natural to us. After awakening, you come back to this.
Смерть существует у нас только в уме. Это наш самый сильнейший
Death exists only in our mind.
иллюзия.
This is our strongest fear.
Возможно,
Like any fear, it is an illusion,
с каждым
which might happen to us. Actually will happen to everyone, but when it happens, when we identify ourselves with the body, there is nothing more scary than death, because it seems to us that after that, there is nothing.
когда ты
That is not
начинаешь
true.
чувствовать свою душу
When you start to feel your soul, your nature,
с этим миром, с энергией, которая все создает,
your connection with this world, with energy that creates everything, which is unlimited, then everything is changing.
потому что жизнь наша
Because our life is an opportunity to gain experience.
получить опыт. И по окончанию
And at the end of life, here in the body, after the death of the physical body, it does not end.
достаточно хотя бы допустить эту мысль.
At least allowing the thought will make us feel better.
Чувствуешь свою природу,
The more you feel your nature,
самое знание,
the more it opens. Direct knowledge of how everything works here.
точка опоры, которая
The foothold appears that I was talking about.
справится со всем абсолютно.
Then you can absolutely cope with everything. Not you, but the power to which we have access to,
который у нас есть доступ,
the source,
источник, который
which is everywhere
он везде и внутри нас.
and within us as well.